Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have been promised by Howie Roseman that he is going to aggressively go after players in the 2024 offseason. And we're going to go after some other news on potential veterans that can come to the Philadelphia Eagles. And, what are the updates on specific veterans that could come back and a higher chance of that happening? We're going to talk about Nick Sirianni's comments on him and Kellen Moore's game plans are going to mesh well together. Let's take that with a grain of salt with those comments. We're going to go after that quote, what was going on with what was said about that. But yeah, let's get into it all.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Today, we'll be talking about, obviously, some more nits and bits of pieces of information that we got the other day. Since the Combine will be starting tomorrow, and a lot to go over there in the coming weeks with the Combine and free agency and all that great stuff. The Eagles have not touched their own roster yet when it comes to releases, trades. Obviously, things can't really happen. Too much can't happen yet, but the Eagles have some money to free up here. Now, I want to go over Nick Sirianni's comments on Kellen Moore, and there was some things said about both their concepts of an offense are going to mesh together. And let me tell you something, okay? I don't care what anybody says. Nick is trying to put himself out there to the media and to the fans that he's actually doing his job or actually doing something within the organization as a head coach. It's fine, Nick. You don't have to be so hands-on anymore. We know that you failed at it last year. We know that after 22, you got real conceited, real cocky of yourself to think that you're going to turn this offense into something, not take any tape from Shane Steichen, and just run off with whatever you wanted to run this offense pretty much into the ground. The last 7 games of the season, really not having a dominant game all season. We know the news. We know what happened, okay? Now, this is what he said. I'm going to read this really quick. So he says, as far as us kind of creating our Philadelphia Eagles offense going into 24, that will be thoughts that we've done in the past really well. That will be thoughts that Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore done in the past really well. So we look forward to building that together. We brought in quarterbacks, coach Doug Newsheimer, I can't say his name right, the quarterback coach, to be the quarterback coach. And then we kept staying pat in a lot of different areas as well, with passing game coordinator, associate head coach Kevin Patullo, and with tight ends coach Jason Michael, run game coordinator, offensive line coach Jeff Stout. Obviously, we know those are really good coaches. I have a lot of faith in them. And it's meshing of 2 systems to grow in both systems so we can put the best product on the field. So that's why that's kind of stayed similar, is because we're going to be doing a lot of different, we're going to be doing different things. But also we're going to be doing things that we've been successful at as well. Obviously, those guys that I just mentioned on offense have been here through the success and look forward to growing from that. Okay, like I said, Nick is not putting anything into this offense. Okay, I don't know what system he's talking about because there is no system. I don't know what system. What was a success offensively last year? What was a success last year with our offense? Was it because you had 2 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard running back? No. I don't know. Progressively, your changes down the road of the season did not go well, and obviously the players gave up on the team, gave up on the coaching staff, gave up on Nick. Was really trying to coach these guys into staying strong, keep the faith, let's be positive. It doesn't work that way when you make no adjustments during the year. Not like I said, not having one dominant game as an offense, the first halves of games being the same way as is, and the second half where Jalen Hurts and this defense had to make crucial stops and make big plays, and it was only going to last so long until, defenses really figured this offense out. Okay. I think Nick is obviously just saying this because he just needs to make it look like he's doing something. And I don't think he's doing anything because I got really pissed off even before Kellen Moore was hired. Okay. before Kellen Moore was hired, when Howie and Nick had the end of the year press conference, and Nick couldn't even talk about what his job specifically was going to be going into this season. And he said the same thing like 3 times, okay, that he was going to keep the culture, uplift the culture. And that's pretty much it. That's all he said. But if he actually thinks, so it's already telling me he's not going to have a hand on the playbook this year. It's already telling me that. And trust me, if it is, we're going to know. We're going to find out. I really hope you're not fucking up this season early in the year. If we get like to 2-4 or something like that, because Nick is getting too involved, it's going to be an early exit firing, and Kellen Moore will be appointed as the interim head coach and play caller for this team. It's definitely something on the table that could happen if the offense starts to turn sour. For what weird reason? Because we know that it's not going to be 100% Kellen Moore. You're not throwing Kellen Moore in the broom closet while Nick does this game plan, and Kellen Moore is going to just piggyback ideas to Nick. And I mean, seriously? I mean, Kellen Moore let the guy control over everything when it comes to this offense. Get this passing game right first, because, Jesus, I've never seen such underachieved coaches in my life. With the way they ran with a top 3 roster offensively in the NFL, with your offensive line, your running backs underutilized, your wide receivers are having tale of 2 halves, where A.J. Brown has a good half of the season. Devontae Smith, we can't integrate both these guys into an offense. I mean, intermediate routes, middle of the field, hot routes. I could name a million other things. It was a huge problem, and I think Nick is just trying to make it look like he's doing something this year, which he's not. There are hands-off coaches, and Nick has to be one of those hands-off type coaches. I'm sorry. He's another Dan Campbell. He's a rah-rah type guy, and that's it. Kellen Moore is not the rah-rah guy. He's the X's and O's guy. It's going to put his players in good position to win football games, and that's what we want. So this, Kellen Moore hired his own staff, okay? He made it say, oh, we hired a quarterback coach, and this guy, he didn't hire jack shit, okay? Kellen Moore hired his own staff, and that's the control that they gave Kellen Moore, and that's perfectly fine. So we'll find out due time. Obviously the offseason program needs to change, but this whole quote unmeshing of 2 systems, we didn't have a system last year. We had no identity. We had no system. There's no system without an identity. So the system has been failing. So all this has to change due time with everything. Now, Howie Roseman came to say, obviously, as being aggressive, as he's going to be aggressive in the 2024 season on getting players, but aggressive on quote-unquote getting veterans, okay, going after veterans in the market, okay. I think, obviously, the 2 that come to mind as of right now is going to be Jason Kelce, but that doesn't take out a Fletcher Cox return as well, where this is what Howie said. He said, obviously, those guys are unbelievable players, unbelievable people, and they deserve the right to decide what's best for them. We'll wait and give them whatever time and space they need to make the right decisions. I think the important thing from our perspective is you never want to see them wearing different colors. I think for us, no matter when that is, if they want the opportunity to come back, we'd want to have the opportunity to bring them back. Okay, so the money has got to be right. Fletcher Cox isn't going to get a what he got? He got paid $13 million for the year, something like that. So it's a big, hefty 1-year deal. Thought Fletcher Cox played really well in the rotation. Probably one of the few guys that really showed a lot of heart the whole entire season, to be honest with you, where a lot of players probably gave up. And I don't put too much towards them, because it's hard when you're losing consistent games and, no adjustments are being made, and, players are talking to each other behind the scenes when fans don't know what they're saying, and giving up on the team, rapidly but slowly as each week goes by. I think Fletcher Cox has been one of those guys, obviously a big leader for this team. We drafted Fletcher Cox a long time ago, okay? And he's not the same Fletcher Cox as we used to know, but in a rotation, I thought he did a really good job. There could be, but I think the money has got to be a little bit less, okay, on a 1-year deal if they're going to bring him back for 1 year just for depth purpose on the defensive line. In the rotation, I think we still need one more interior. We'll see how it goes, and I think we just need a couple edge rushers. I mean, we definitely need edge guys too. But Kelce coming back is the big question, because this entirely affects our offense. Because you lose Kelce, then Jurgens moves to center, and just to be honest with you, Jurgens hasn't been the most healthy player we've seen so far. But hopefully he stays, and like he's had a lot of reps at center. Got to remember during practice, second team, you have first team offense with Jurgens at right guard. Second team offense, he's always getting reps at center all the time. The problem is he's not getting game time reps, which definitely is a huge difference than practice. We all know that because we know the practices are, they're sipping on Long Island iced teas all day. Apparently, from what we're hearing from practice, that's what they're doing. They have the lawn chairs, they're having drinks. They have a bartender on the side. They have a butler, delivering the drinks to the field. I don't know. From what it sounds like, that's got to change. But all jokes aside, potentially, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have a big problem at right guard because Tyler Steen's way too raw. Sua Opeta's a free agent. You're losing Jack Driscoll. You have no depth on the offensive line. Really, nobody besides Tyler Steen at right guard for left tackle for his original position. That's really it. I mean, so little teeny bitty signings on depth would be nice, and drafting another offensive lineman this year and with our between our first three picks is probably going to be, in the higher amount, the higher probability going forward. So that's what, losing Fletch isn't as a big deal as losing Kelsey because it changes two positions because you want to make sure Cam Jurgens can be a starting center in the league. And, it hasn't really, because really hasn't been in that position yet because, we thought Kelsey would retire a lot earlier. Landon Dickerson was supposed to be our original center, and then played right guard for Brandon Brooks in the I think it was 21 in the home opener, I think it was against the 49ers, and then Brandon Brooks got hurt and he went into right guard, didn't play well. They switched him to the left side, and he's been pretty good there ever since, and he's going to get a big extension as well soon. So a big return for Fletcher Cox could be in the works. We're waiting. Behind the scenes, like obviously Howie Roseman knows what's going on with Kelsey. Like I think they're close enough to where, Howie's not talking to Kelsey's agent. Like, it's not that separate. They're close, they're close. So Kelsey, they know what's going on in the direction that they're going in. Because it wouldn't be fair to the Eagles that Kelsey's gonna wait weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to make a decision to come back. So hopefully this makes more sense down the line. I feel like Kelsey's coming back for one more year. Fletch, there was some talks of him saying early retirement or retirement in general. That hasn't, nothing's been official yet. But Fletch coming back, not a bad move at all. So I would absolutely love it. Another year, why not? I just think it's going to be on the more mid-tier side, not going crazy on a $15 million deal for 1 year. I just don't think it's going to be worth it, really. We got a lot of holes on our defense right now. Things have to get prepared and ready. So since we're talking about veterans and how we aggressively going after veterans on the market, which makes sense, I think of safety immediately. I think of Tracy Walker from the Lions. I think of Eddie Jackson from the Bears. You have a 28-year-old in Tracy Walker, a 31-year-old, 30-year-old, and Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson was an all-pro in his second year under Vic Fangio. It makes a lot of sense. I think they're going to go after, you're not going to sign a high-price free agent at every single position. It's just, there's two sides of the coin when it comes to what the Eagles need to sign. Obviously, they need to sign a guy to big money. I don't know what position it's going to be. I'm hoping it's linebacker, Andrew Van Ginkel, please. I'm hoping it's going to happen. Because it just makes too much sense to not go that direction instead of a Patrick Queen or a bigger name like that where, you're going to be paying out of your asshole, constant, money and a million teams talking to one player. Not that all these free agents are going to have multiple, teams talking to them and wanting them here and depending on money and stuff like that. But as a cheaper, more efficient option when it comes to, the scheme, okay, you want to get players that fit the scheme more than paying them the most money just having the best guy. If the best guy can't play your scheme, if a press corner can't play in a Vic Fangio system, you want to pay all of the money. It's a waste of money at the end of the day, okay? So a lot going on there with two veterans, going forward. And I think one of these guys will make sense. Tracy Walker, I think that was second in snaps for the Lions, played all of last year with the Lions. Great tackler, pursuit's really good. And just, 28 years old, think a perfect situation where he can get a 1 year, 2 year deal. Be nice to keep somebody in the building for a couple years. And then obviously drafting another safety would probably do it too. Don't mind, because I still think they need to add two more bodies at safety. most likely. And veteran players such as, guys that are cost efficient but fit the scheme well. And then players like, you saw L'Jarius Sneed, more news coming out on him, that, apparently there's rumors that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to tag him, and they're going to see if they could trade him and get some compensation. I don't think anybody's going to trade for him. I think they're gonna hold on to him. KC's gonna try to get a deal done. They might get a deal done. They might not. They still gotta pay Chris Jones. They got a lot of money tied. They're gonna have a lot of money tied up. I mean, they probably have pretty good cap space. I don't know what their situation is. So Sneed looks like he is gonna get tagged. We'll see how it goes. If they get no compensation, if there's no teams willing to call, which I feel like the Eagles will call, especially Andy Reid's there. I don't see why they would try not to talk to him and see if they could work something out when it comes to Sneed, to trade him to Philadelphia. If that's the road they're going to take, I don't think they're drafting a corner in the first round. If they're going to draft somebody, it's going to be somebody in the second round that fits the scheme at the top of the list for zone coverage. Other than that, I don't see them going after either they're going to pace a corner or they're just going to pay a number 2 guy that can come in. I don't know which direction they're going to go, or draft a guy in the second round to take place of James Bradbury, that apparently is staying in the Eagles' plans for 2024, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. So those are the rumors on Sneed going forward, and we'll see how that plays out. There's just so much going on. I don't know what the Eagles are going to do. It's a big question mark to me. But let me know what you guys think about, Nick's philosophy of meshing both, Nick's system with Kellen's. Do you believe any of that, or do you think it's BS? Let me know. Kelsey and Fletcher Cox returning. Do you think it's still going to happen for any of those guys? Obviously, veteran players aggressively being pursued by Howie Roseman. Could Tracy Walker, Eddie Jackson, guys like that, or any others, do you think, whether they're low price that fit the scheme or high price because they want somebody for the future that's going to help them win a championship? And the money on defenses, and the money, the cap they get back is going straight to the defense. There's no doubt about it. So a lot to go over here. So other than that, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for Eagles news every single day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Chicks, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.